So let's see with different type of chart. Now I'm going to use M chart. So this is another chart. And in this chart, we are going to make multiple charts. So in the views.py, let's create a new method view multiple and return the request of the function to multiple.html. And then in the URLs, you can create the view multiple and then create view multiple.html in the folder templates. So let's see one by one. You need to make the view multiple in the views.py. View multiple, and then I will make a new link. I will make a new link here. So the link will be toward the view multiple, and then I have one additional HTML file. Okay, so it is too long. So please make sure that you copy and paste all this one. So you can make a new HTML file, view multiple. Okay. And if you finish with this HTML file, now you can run. Okay, so this is the view multiple. You have the first data set, you have the second data set, you can see also the third data set, and you have the fourth data set. And this is just random. Okay, you can put your data set later if you want. Now you can see the comparison. The comparison on April 30, the first data and the second data. What is the difference? What is the gap? Okay. And then if you click here, the third data set, then you can also see. And if you have the fourth, then you can see also the comparison. So this is the, like what we call as the multiple chart. If you want to have 1 year, then yeah, the time span becomes 1 year. Or if you want to have year to date, or you want to see only the maximum for every particular day. Yeah. Then you can also have some kind of period that you want to set. Let's say I want to set from May 9, 2021 until 30 May. Then yeah, it will show you. As long as you have the data and you fit the data into this chart, then you will see it like this one. Okay. How we can draw this figure? How we can draw this chart? First, the chart div will be defined with the style. We want to use the width as 100% and then the height 500 pixels. So it's very big. If you want to make it small, maybe the result will be smaller. Okay, so it's small. So I do not want to make it small. I want to make it big. So this is from the site. They already determined that 500 will be the best one. And you need to get some of the resources. So here are the resources from the M charts. You need to check the documentation. In my case, because I use this one, I check the documentation, and you need to get all the JavaScript, like the chart JavaScript, serial.javascript, mstock.javascript, and then the export.min.javascript, and then you need to get the CSS file, and then you need to get the light.js. All of them are available in the charts. And now, yeah, this one is the data set. Since we don't have any data from the database, I do not want to connect to the database at this moment. Yeah, for your team project, I hope that you can connect your data to this kind of chart. So let's assume I use a list here, and let's generate the data. The first date will be the date. Date is like the current date. And the first date, set date is, okay, we have this one. The first date, let's say this is the today minus 500. So it will be minus to 500 date, okay, 500 day before. So you can see the result in a year. That's why we can have the 1 year data. And let's set the hour become 0000. This is the original value, just random. A1, A2, A3, A4, it is just random. And then for every of the value, we have, because we have 500 day. So here, the system will make a random value. So the first day is let's make the current date. And then the new date will be set into the new date plus I. And then, yeah, we will make the random value. The current A1 will be the addition of the random value, and then it will become the current A1. And every time we have the data, you need to push. Okay? So this one is to push in every particular point. We have the date, what is the current date, and then what is the value, and what is the volume. Volume, it means the P1. And let's just make assumption that the volume will be added by 1500. Those are about the data. As you might know, in the JavaScript, if we have array, if we have array like this one, in order to add the data, we need to use push. Okay. So this is push. And then, after we have the data, we can make the chart. I would like to make the chart based on the chart, and then the chart will be located in the chart div. This is the type. So you can see the documentation later if you want. But for example, the theme is dark, the type is top. Okay? So there are some other kind of information. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe dark. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the dark. Okay, the color is different. Okay, so they have their own way to define the theme. And then the data set is the first data set is the A1. Okay? And then we have the value from field to field, and then from field to field we have the volume. The data provider chart data 1. Okay? So you can see here the chart data 1 is related with A1 and B1. Chart data 2 is related with A2 and B2, and so on. So the first data set is chart data 1. The second data set is chart data 2. The third data set is chart data 3. Fourth data set is the chart data 4. And then, if you understand all these things, this is the key, this is the value, this is the key, this is the value, key, the value. So if we can figure out it's of this one, like this one, percent hit. So I want to know what is the hit that you want to show in the panel. And I'm giving this as the value G1, and then yeah, some of them are basic. Okay. Balloon text. This is a variable. So we want to show the title and the value. And we want to compare the balloon text with the other title with the value. So here we have the title, the first data set, and the value. The title and the value. If we want to like compare, yeah, we can use the percent value close with the percent, and then what is the value text regular? We want to have the value dot close. I guess it is. Where is the close? I think this one with the percent value. Yeah, stop legend. This is the legend. Okay, this is the legend. And then we have the volume. Okay. The volume is only just volume. This is the volume. This is the legend. Okay. And this is the volume. And so on. So each of this chart, they will have this property, and usually they will have example, and you can just use that example. And you need to understand what you need to modify based on your data. Let's say, yeah, now you have the period is y. It means it is year, or the period will be month, or the period will be year to date, or the period you want to check the maximum. Okay? And yeah, those things are the script. This script is based on the JavaScript, and it will use the script from the mchart. After I have those script, I would like to put it all into the chart div. So this is the chart div. As you might know, we have this chart. This chart will be placed in the chart div. So the chart div will be updated according to this mchart function. We have different kind of visualization. Let's say if you want to make, I don't know, in your team project, is there any team who wants to use map? So you can use map. In this case, the procedure are the same. We will make in the view first, and then make the link, and then create the HTML file. So here I will make the view map into the views.py, and then I will make the link. Sorry. I will make the link, and after I have the link, I will make the view map.html. So I can replace with the code that I gave into the PowerPoint. Now I'm using Google Chart again. So in the Google Chart, the idea is still the same. We have the loader. Okay. The loader means, yeah, we want to load all the functions from the Google Chart. Yeah. Now we are also using the JS API in this case, and you can look at these packages. The previous one, we use the core chart. The core chart means the bar chart or bubble chart or the pie chart. So those are core. But if the data is different, we need to find another packages. So I didn't remember how many packages the Google provide, but you need to check based on your data, okay, if you want to use this kind of visualization. And most of this chart, they will provide those documents. In this case, I'm using map, and then in this container, we will show the result and this JavaScript. Now we have another data. As you might know, the data can be in the data table or array to data table. This will be in the array. We have latitude, longitude, and let's say this is the name, the location name. So we have the numbers, and the location name is dormitory, and then we have numbers, the location name is university. We have shopping, and we have library. So the chart option, show tip equals to true. And then now I'm going to show the visualization with map. Okay. The previous one we show with the bar chart, we show with the bubble chart, we show with pie chart, but now I'm going to show it into the map. The remaining are the same with the chart.draw data and options. So we will call the draw chart. Oh, I don't have this result. So view map. Okay. Yeah, this is based on the Google Map. Google Map has some limitation in Korea. You cannot use all the functions. So yeah, it's just very limited. If you know how to use like neighbor, okay, you can apply with the neighbor map or Kakao map. Okay. You can log in to the neighbor, and then you can get the API. So based on the API, you can show later the map based on the longitude and latitude. Geo chart, okay, so this is another kind of chart. Let's see if I use the geo chart here. I have the views.py. So I define the geo chart. We will make the view geo.html. And then I have the geo in the link. And then I have the HTML. Oops. Okay, this one should be the view geo.html. So I make the view geo. Now, as you can see here, we are using the Google loader again, and now we are using the packages GeoChart. And there is an API. So I don't know who has this API, but someone shared this map API for our project. There is one developers share the API. This is the API key, so I use this is just for the testing. And then the other kind of codes are similar with what we already learned before. We want to load the draw regions map. This is the function here. The data will be in the array to data table, and then we have two columns. The first column is the country, and the other column is the popularity. So we have Germany 200, United States 300, and so on. The options are blank. Okay, let me just put it as blank. And then the visualization will be in the GeoChart. And then I will put the result into the region div. This is the region div. So let's draw the chart based on the data and the options. If I show the view geo, then this is the geography. Usually this kind of chart, you need to get some kind of the API key. Okay? So in this case, I used another developer API key. And you can see Russia, the popularity is 700. And then if you go to South Korea, the popularity is 800. With France, the popularity is 600 and so on. Okay? And the color becomes darker when the popularity is high, and the color becomes lighter when the popularity is low. This kind of geo usually is, yeah, it has some privacy issue. That's why you need to have the Google ID, and you need to provide this kind of API key in order to check who is accessing this code and who is showing this kind of map to other people. Okay, so this is the view queue, and then I cannot teach you many things, okay, due to the time limitation. So I'm just showing you for some example, if you are going to make a kind of dashboard, okay, there are some good dashboard that you can use. So here is the dashboard for the visualization with the first page that is good. You can use this kind of template for your team project, for example. Or you can see some other kind of template. This is another template, and you can see they provide the source code. So some of them, they share the source code in the GitHub, and you can use it for your, maybe in this case, for your team project or for your future development. So in this case, they have this kind of bootstrap source code, and you can just use it because they publish it for free. Or yeah, this is another kind of example. So they have the bootstrap. Yeah, if you want to use this theme, yeah, it means you can just use this theme. This theme is very fancy. Okay. You can have like this one. This is the, oops, sorry. I think I didn't share. Yeah, for example, this one is from GitHub. Okay. This one from a GitHub, and then you can select with this business casual. You can see the leak preview. Okay, so this is free, and then you can reuse it for your project, or if you want to develop your personal website, then you can use it as well with some modification, of course. Okay. In this next slide, I would like to explain how we can do some simple integration. What does it mean by the simple integration here? In many cases, you need to get the data from the database and show them in a graph. However, we can say that it's very complicated because the database, you have your SQLite, for example, and then you want to show it into the visualization, which is JavaScript. So you need to understand the Python, and then you need to understand the SQL from the database, and you need to understand how to put the data structure into the JavaScript, because all the visualization in the web are in JavaScript. And sometimes you need to run some algorithms in prior to visualization. Maybe before you do the visualization, you want to make a distance matrix, and then you want to apply some Euclidean distance or something. So I would like to show you one example how we can run a simple algorithm. Let's say this is the Euclidean distance, and show some numerical value from DB to a graph using JavaScript. So I'm just using the basic REST project, and then let's check the serializer.py to show all the content. So in the post, you can, if you still remember, in the post, you have the serializers.py. Yeah, last time I already mentioned to you that you can define what you want to show in the REST framework, or you can just mention that you want to show it all. Okay, let me just change this to all. It's easier. Okay. I will make comment to the previous one. And now I want to make a function. Do you know Euclidean distance? So we can have some formula. In this example, I want to show we can make the Euclidean distance with Python, and we can also make the Euclidean distance with JavaScript. Okay. This is a function, Euclidean distance in Python. Okay. You can just copy and paste this one into the views.py. I have 2 points, P1 and P2. And then I set the total equals to 0 at the first time. And then I have the length of P1. I assume that the P1 and P2 have the same length. And then let's print to show the data. And then I would like to do the summation for all the data after we do the square. At the end, let's do the square root from the total. So the distance, the Euclidean distance, will be written to a value or to a variable. I can make a new function. Let's say this is a function compare. Okay, this is a function compare. What is the meaning by compare? Let me just put here. I would like to get all objects from the database. Now I want to measure the distance between like and dislike. If you still remember, okay, I have this data. 100 like and 1 dislike, 82 like and 47 dislike. So I want to know whether the first post and the second post, they are similar or not. And I want to check the first post and the third post. We can see the distance. If the distance is too big, then they are not similar. If the distance is short, then they are similar. So I would like to use this compare. This compare means the first item is the P1. It means all the values from the like. I hope that you still remember. I want to get all objects, and what is the value that I want to take is like. If you check this one, flat equals to true. Okay. So I want to make the data into a flat with a kind of just flat. And after I have the flat data here, I want to make the flat data into a list. So this is also, if you want to check later, you can run this data. You can run this one, and you can show the result in the console. After I have the P2, I have the details of this like, and I want to make it as a list. So the result will be the Euclidean distance between P1 and P2. So it means I want to see the dislike and likes. So I want to know the distance between this one and this one. I want to know the distance. I want to know the distance. I want to know the distance, whether they are a big gap or not. Of course, if you have a big gap between like and dislike, maybe the number of like is higher than dislike, then it is good. After I have the result, I would like to put it into the comparison.html. So I want to put the result into the comparison.html, and I want to share for all the data. Here the data is pp1, pp2, and the result. So let me make a new path, just one single path here. You need to put into the urls.py. Let's make compare. So this is the compare, and I will call the compare function. And after I have that compare function, let me have a new HTML file. This is an HTML file named comparison.html. So I will create a new HTML file named comparison.html and put the HTML file in the folder charts. In the folder charts, I will make a new HTML file, comparison. Okay. Now, in this case, I would like to show you how we can make an Euclidean distance function in JavaScript. So JavaScript can also make like this kind of algorithm. Okay? So it depends on you whether you want to make your algorithm in JavaScript or you want to make your algorithm in Python. In JavaScript, they also have the library for machine learning. So you can create your decision tree, or you can create your any function there. Now, before I explain this one, let's see the result. Okay. This is the list from the REST framework. This is the data that you have. The first post, the second post, and the third post. And I want to know the distance between like and dislike. So it means we have the 100 minus 1, and then 82 minus 47, and then 34 minus 95. Okay, this is the Euclidean distance by Python. Now, if I want to check this one in JavaScript, you can click. Okay, this is the result of the Euclidean distance based on the JavaScript. The results are the same. Then there is no issue. Okay. The question is how the code works in both environments. In the head, we have the script, which is the JavaScript. So I assume that we have the JavaScript in this HTML file. I will continue first to the body. So in the body, we have the container, and then we have the table. The table shows the ID, title, like, and dislike. And then I would like to look for every data that I have in the database, so I can show it in the HTML. So every data in the comparison, I will repeat it and show the ID, the title, and the like and dislike. Now, the result from Python will be given here, result. How we can get this result? It is from the view. Okay, this is the result. The result is the numbers obtained from the Euclidean function. The Euclidean function is from this one. Okay, and then I would like to get the Euclidean distance by JavaScript. By the JavaScript, I would like to run this E distance. Where is this E distance? So if you click the button, we will execute this E distance. If you click this one, then this is the function E distance. What is this function? This function E distance will have some values. Now I am declaring two kind of inputs. The first input is P1 and the value is PP1. It is from the Python or from the backend. I have another ID P2. The value will be PP2. It is also from the backend. And those two are hidden. I do not show it into the HTML. So I will just keep behind the HTML. But if I put it hidden, I still can extract into the JavaScript. So this is the way to extract into the JavaScript. So the value 1, I will get the element by ID P1. And then I will get the value. For the value 2, I will get the element by ID P2. And I will get the value. And then, okay, this is the difficult part. We need to parse the data. Okay? So not all data can be easily parsed. The data should be parsed into the JSON format in the JavaScript. It should be in the JavaScript object format. So here is the way to parse the data into the JavaScript using this regex or regular expression. So we have the array1 and array2. After we have the array1 and array2, yeah, the remaining is just to get the Euclidean distance. This is the way to get the Euclidean distance. We have array1, array2, and then power of 2. And then we do with the total, and the total will be square root. And the total will be given or will be delivered again to the main form. What is the main form? Yeah, this is the main form. And then we want to show it into the value, sorry, the text here in the rest. So the value will be modified. So the rest dot value will be the same with the total that you get from the JavaScript. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I will explain more the remaining on the next meeting. Okay, on next class.